Welcome. Hey, let's kick off the Meshery Development Meeting. It is Wednesday, October 4th, and we will no longer be saying, here we go live. Having said that, we are live, but we can start some new memes this time. Hey, let's wait, hold on. I've got the wrong microphone connected to the wrong. Well, Pranav, at least our last host stopped making that mistake after a while. All right, good. Hey, my name is Lee Calcode. I'll host today, and that's probably unfortunate for the majority of you that are new here. And for those of you who've been around for a little while, it's probably equally as unfortunate. But let's do this. So the meeting, a link to the meeting minutes are here. If you find that you don't have access, just fill in a community member form and you'll find yourself with access in seconds. Where would you find that community member form? layer5.io/newcomer. Or if it's a couple of you, it could be newcomers. Either way, it'll get you to this form. You don't have to fill in much other than just like your name and email address. It's primarily the thing. When you fill it in, you'll be granted access to a shared drive that has this doc and many others for Meshery and for a bunch of all the other projects that we have around here. So today, though, the topic du jour is Meshery, and we've got a couple of things to do just before we jump into each topic here. One is just a reminder that there are mailing lists out there for this project. We do lots of chat in Slack, and we do a fair bit of chatter on the discussion forum right here. There are a couple of topics that get a lot of action. But if email is your thing, please liven these up. Don't hesitate. It's this hour of the day isn't convenient for everybody. Heck, it's like 9 a.m. here and it's barely convenient for me. I'm on my first cup of coffee, so it's pretty terrible. All right. So anyway, good. That was just a quick reminder. Something that we usually do after we make everyone feel comfortable with some terrible jokes and getting everybody warmed up, we say, hey, is there anyone that's new or, well, on this call for the first time? We have a few different calls each week. But if you haven't been to the Meshery Dev call, now's your chance. So just say a couple of words, if you would, just introduce yourself. It'd be nice to get to know everybody. That way everybody else gets to know you as well. They can help introduce you around the community, introduce you to the project. So who'd like to go first? So, Miss Gosh, did you just say something? I swear you just heard something. Harrison, yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, hi all. I'm Harrison Itotia from Nairobi, Kenya. It's my first time to attend the Dev meeting. I attended a newcomers meeting last week. This one is my first one. I'm a React developer. I'm looking forward to start my contribution. I've been working on setting up the development environment, but I've had some trouble, but now I'm done with it. Now I'll start contributing. Okay.
Nice. Harrison, man, Kenya, represent, man, represent. I could get in trouble for this, but there's quite a few Nigerians around here, and it's just nice to get a Kenyan every once in a while. We just had a Kenyan intern, actually, Fredish. Actually, he was, well, technically, I think he's studying university in Kenya, and he was from a country, 2 countries north. I don't know my African, but geology well enough. But anyway, Harrison, great to have you. I'm glad that you got successful with getting set up. Was that the Meshery project, or was that one of the websites, or Nighthawk, or?
It's Meshery.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you're on your way. Very good. Miss Gosh, do you want to Solagna? There's the reason I'm saying your last name.
It's Shulagna.
Oh my
Hi.
gosh.
It's Shulagna Ghosh. It's okay. Hi.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's absolutely all right. You can call me SG if you want, if you feel comfortable.
Oh, no,
Okay.
wait. Say it one more time. It could be which
SG. Short
okay.
from Shulagna Ghosh, SG. If you feel
Okay.
comfortable, you can
That's
call me
free.
that also. Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Shulagna from India, and I'm a newbie here at Meshery. I'm super excited to be joining this community mate for the first time. I'm also pretty new to the whole open source world. Like I started doing open source in April or May of this year. I'm eager to get involved in here, like doing front end work or back end work. And yes, I'm learning Go currently. So if there is anything related to Go, I would love to take part in that. And I'm looking forward to being a valuable member of this community and making a lot of great contributions. Thanks a lot for having me here. Thank you.
Wow. That's going to be a hard intro to top, but AKM, do you want to give it a shot? You want to say hi?
So hello everyone. So I'm Jubair. I'm from Bangladesh, studying at BRAC University. So this is my second semester in my university, and I have just started to contribute in open source programs. I learned about Meshery from not LinkedIn, Linux Foundation's mentorships program. So then I applied for it, and now I'm here. So I'm actually learning DevOps, just completed learning Docker, and now learning Kubernetes. So I'm hoping to have a nice journey with you guys. I'm looking forward to learn more.
Yeah. You don't happen to be a chain smoker, do you? Or is it just a very naturally?
I was a chain smoker, then I quit smoking.
Oh,
Like
congrats.
achievement unlocked.
Wow. Yeah. Not a lot of people. Well, more people don't achieve that than do.
That's a very tough job, to be very honest.
I don't pretend to know. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, I can give you some tips and tricks though.
Chewing gum.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Pick up a different vice, like choose a, like, yeah, for me, it's just about like trying to trade terrible habits for, better habits. But,
your mind is the biggest weapon. So yeah, if you can train your mind that you can quit smoking, you can quit smoking.
Congrats. All right. So yeah, and it's, there was a different job. Well, you enunciated Javier, or no?
Sorry?
Do you pronounce it Javier?
No, it's Juba Air, or you can call me Zubi.
Zubi. Yeah. Pranav, are you taking notes? Jubi and Sri. I lost it. Well, I'm not going to get that. Like that's let's be real. But anyway, good. Well, we had a Jubier here. Actually, he was African. And so yeah, that makes sense. It's enunciated differently. Pranav, I already forgot it.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have. Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well, hey, geez, man, this is what happens when Lee hosts. We spend like 15 minutes just dinking around. But it is very nice to get to know some folks, especially if you're going to be around for a little while. It's really helpful. There's a couple of other people who are probably new today. Has anyone else not gotten a chance to say hi? Wad, have you said hi before? You might have.
Hey, hello everyone.
Hello, hello. Hey, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Nigeria.
Well, I forgive you. I don't know if Harrison does, but I forgive you. I was just kidding. It's bad joke. Great. Yeah. Wonderful. Is this your first time on this particular call, or have you been on others? Or
Yeah, I've been on the community call, but this is my first time on the development call.
this one? Probably your last time too, with how you're getting with the reception. So it's good. Yeah. Look past the jokes, and yeah, thanks for coming, man. It's good to have you.
No problem.
good?
Man.
Oh yeah.
All good. All good.
Who else? Anybody else didn't get a chance to say hi? Good. Is Manish with us? Manish.
Hello.
Yeah, Kingsley. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, Mordecai.
This is my first time being in the
We lost Mordecai, but Kingsley, did you want to say hi? But thanks, Mordecai, for just introduce yourself in chat if you would, Mordecai. And
yeah, hi everyone. My name is Kingsley. This is the first time I'm joining the Meshery call, really. So, but I've been around on the website call and the like. So I want to start contributing to Meshery, and yeah, I would love to get to know about Meshery, and yeah. So that's basically for me. Thank you.
nice. Yeah, Kingsley, I gotta say, man, you're being selfish with those React skills, just sort of keeping them over to the leaderboard. It's there's a lot to do inside of Meshery UI, so that's great. That's great. Do we have that leaderboard
Awesome.
up just yet?
I think the only blocker is publishing it to NPM. So every other thing about it is probably done. Yeah. So
Nice.
once we do that, then we can now start updating it incrementally in case there's any other minor feature that we want to add to it. Yeah.
That'd be great. It'd be great to get a presentation from you on it when it's up here, which is, by the way, just a good call out for the recognition program. There might be some people that are on the call now who have earned a badge, but have yet to be awarded a badge. If you think that so by the way, it's not an automated system here. And if you're not familiar with the badges, you can read through here. Vivek, it would be great, or Kingsley, or if we got a link to the blog post that introduces this program and it gives a bit of background, I think it'd be nice just to have a link to it so people can understand what it's about a bit more. Anyway, we do badge, folks, and this is the month. This is a limited edition badge right here. I don't know if anyone's gotten it yet. I don't know that anyone has, but I think some people have earned it. I know some people have gotten some things merged in the last few days. Saruchi is well on her way. So anyway, the badges aren't awarded programmatically just yet. For them to be awarded programmatically, one of you that's on the call has to step up and have an automated system that does that. If you're interested in that, talk to Pranav Singh. He's on the call. So if you think that you've earned one of these, then you probably have. The criteria is right in the description. And we would just mention it in Slack, call, tag a community manager or a maintainer or just another contributor, and we'll get it assigned. I've seen, does anybody have these badges, one or more of these badges on their GitHub profile? I'm super curious. If you do, not only speak up, but it'd be great to get your profile here, because the aspect ratio of these is off and it just sort of throws me for a loop. Anybody have a badge on their GitHub profile by chance? What a sad moment this is. Got to get that changed. Okay, Good. Enough ad lib for Lee. Daniel, Mr. Kiptoon, you have been busy on MeshSync. Do you want to dive into this with us and take us through what you've been working on?
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen. Okay. Yeah, so let me start with a brief overview just to get everyone at par with what has been going on, and then I'll address the things from the last meeting that were pending, and then what I did about them, and then we can have feedback from there. So what I've been doing is want to enhance MeshSync to use streaming list. Streaming list is a new sort of addition to from Kubernetes 1.27, where if you want to watch for a resource in Kubernetes, you use the watch command, but the watch command has two underlying commands. It has a list command and a watch command. The list command chunks the metadata that it has available on a resource, and then it sends them in chunks. This has the potential of having an runaway usage on the RAM on a machine. So starting Kubernetes 1.7, we're using there's a feature introduced that we just use the watch command, and the watch command streams the events that it has saved in the cache. So this particular functionality enables MeshSync to use streaming lists if it's available in a cluster. And the availability of streaming list it's an alpha feature which someone needs to opt in. So that is the update that we want to do on MeshSync. So from the last time, what I was able to achieve was now using streaming list to observe the list of resources that we have in MeshSync. But there were two major challenges. One was this is an alpha feature, and we needed to find the best way of determining whether it's supported within the cluster or not. And then number two was an issue where what MeshSync uses currently is shared informers, and shared informers has a cache that you have access to, and this cache was being used down in the pipeline. So those are the two potential issues that I needed to address since the last meeting. Okay, so on to issue number one: how do we determine whether a cluster has the feature enabled? That means we can be able to use the streaming list feature. So for that, there were several approaches. None that is okay. Yeah, we could use the underlying system to try and find out which features are enabled. And I came up with two resolutions for this. One is using the operating system. We can list the, I should also update. kubectl does not really have a way of knowing the actual features. But what you can do is you can list the running processes and then filter out for the Kubernetes API server, and then it will give you a list of the feature gates that have, or a list of the features and whether they've been enabled or not. So that was approach number one. You can list the system processes using PS, and then search for whichever, in this case, the watch list feature, if it's enabled or not. And number two, the solution number two was just a plain old brute force. Brute force in the sense, try for a resource that we know may exist in the cluster, like a pod, just try access do a watch on the pods and see if you can get any errors back. And I have the how to address finally My internet is a bit unstable. Can anyone confirm if they can still hear me
Yeah.
well?
Yep, we can.
Okay, yeah. So so the first approach, the one for using the OS, yes, I did implement it, but these are my feedback from that approach. We'd have to handle different operating systems because Kubernetes can run on Windows, it can run on Linux, and maybe the commands are not uniform on both. But either way, I was leaning towards a brute force approach because that we don't have to care about the underlying operating system. We just have to try, because either way we were wasting a compute cycle to do this. So that would answer question number one. I have both implementations, but I favored the one where we just brute force and check whether we can actually get a response and then proceed from there. And then for issue number two, where we have a cache that is used downstream. So I went for unified approach where I'm still using the watch list feature, but within it, I'm having the informer, but specifically only for the cache. So I'm not using the informer to get the events as they happen, but I'm using it to just get the cache, and then I can store the cache in a list that can be used further downstream. Yeah. So that's my feedback so far.
Daniel, I don't, but so if anyone has feedback, please jump in.
Yeah, any questions, clarifications, such would be much appreciated.
Daniel, it's not often that I get to use that particular emoji in the chat. The last thing that you said, by the way, after like almost 4 years of working remotely, I think I just speak in emojis anymore. So it's just, I can never go back to a corporate job. The last thing that you said was a little bit, took me by surprise. And that was when you talked about, continuing to use to watch, but just on the cache. That's news to me. So does Cube API, does it have, are you referring to its cache? Or are you referring to something else?
Okay, maybe I can clarify that. So in an informer, it has access to an underlying store, which is also a cache that it syncs the events to, and then you can use that. You can use that informer to get you can use that cache to get the events that have been sent there. Now, the mesh sync utilizes that cache on the next step when it's trying to listen to requests. So because we have the first part where we do the discovery, and then we post whatever we've discovered through the broker, and then there's the next further downstream in the same processing cycle, it now listens to events. Yeah, and I could also maybe get clarification from the whole running of mesh sync, because from what I could understand from the code, we do the discovery, but we also expect that some events can be sent through the broker that mesh sync needs to subscribe to.
Really? That mesh sync subscribes to from the broker?
Yeah.
Do you have an example of what one of those is?
Yeah, I'll point you towards the code. So we have these two functionalities. We have the start discovery, and then we have listen to requests. So, and here it subscribes to an event from a channel. So so here, and then it does the processing similar to the other one, but yeah.
I think these events are the added, updated, and deleted, the 3 events that we have for each object. That
yeah, those are handled here. During the discovery stage is where we handle the add, delete, and update events here at the discovery stage. But in this other stage, which actually in my running of it so far, it never gets past here. So it never gets any events from the broker, but I'm assuming that's because I'm running mesh sync in isolation of the other services. But yes, this other part of it in the flow of logic from the main. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know if you were sort of sleuthing at the moment. I figured I would interject and say that it's for 2 purposes. As a matter of fact, I'll demo them to you and to everybody else because I think it would be a lot more interesting for everybody if they get to see something. So, Daniel, we should. I'm going to try to catch up with you a little bit more and see if we can advance the mesh sync functionality just a bit more. And I have a couple of questions and comments on approach number 2, but I'm going to withhold them just because there's a bunch more to go through. So but to answer your question and kind of make everyone else aware of this is that one of the functionality, there's 2 capabilities within Meshery that would call for the need for mesh sync. And so again, there's a link inside of the chat to Meshery's architecture. So Sonali has shared it, and maybe Yash and Ritik or some others have shared it. Be sure, if you're not familiar with mesh sync and what it's supposed to do, just those diagrams that you'll find in that architecture deck will really help. In general, the concept is that Meshery needs to be aware of things that are inside of your Kubernetes cluster. So right now, I'm pointed at a very small Kubernetes cluster. That cluster is called Docker Desktop. That's the name of the cluster. It has 1 node. And the node is like a server. It has 1 server. Great. And then inside that 1 server, it has a few namespaces, 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Inside of maybe the default names. Okay, and so there's a Meshery namespace. Well, my mouse wheel just doesn't want to. Inside the Meshery namespace, actually, this is Mesh Sync, an instance of Mesh Sync running right here. This is in a pod. I think if I click on the pod, I'll get a few details. Maybe I should make the screen a little bit larger. Get a few details. And unbeknownst to many of us, because it usually isn't turned on, but you can get metrics, CPU, memory, disk, network from any pod that Meshery is aware of, that Mesh Sync tells Meshery about, so long as there's just a Prometheus running that's collecting those metrics. And so in this small system, there is a Prometheus that's running and it's collecting those metrics. So Meshery will readily connect and okay, so great. So there are 2 features by which Meshery would need, or Mesh Sync would need to subscribe to. Doesn't just push out and feed Meshery server with tons of information. It sometimes needs to listen itself and receive. And that is when someone goes to do something like this. This is a bad example to do it on this. Let me choose like these 2 pods right here. This is the Meshery broker. Inside the Meshery broker, we're using NATS as a piece of technology, and there's a NATS reloader. So 2 containers inside the same pod. And when I click and highlight that pod, if I want to open up an interactive terminal, I can. If you can spell, you'll get a response back. And great. So I've got 2 terminals actually, one for the reloader and one for NAT, one for each of the 2 containers. Cool. So Mesh Sync is helping facilitate that interaction. You can also open up, start to stream logs from either of the 2 containers. So right now I'm streaming, I have 2 interactive sessions open, and I also have 2 log streaming sessions open right now. And maybe I just want to look at just the Nats one, and you can, search through it and stuff. You can, but in this way, this bidirectional interaction is, I'll bet, where, it's why Meshery would listen to the channel as well, subscribe to a topic as well. I'm sorry, why MeshSync would subscribe to a topic as well. So, wow, man, this is why I don't host. We're like 35 minutes into the meeting and we've covered one topic. So Daniel, I hope that helps answer a question. You're doing some great work. I've got some feedback. We cannot do point number one. On point number two, or approach number two, I'm curious to know if as watch list is being rolled out, or I'm sorry, streaming list is being rolled out, if it's being done on a onesie twosie basis, on a piecemeal basis, by which like only certain resources are supported over time. And so if we'd have to be testing each resource as we go to, subscribe to it. And if that's the case, that's probably fine. But yeah, a quick test, like you were saying, that seems perfectly reasonable. It's just like what we talked about last time. It's like you attempt to do the performant methodology using a streaming list. If it's available, great. If it's not, you fall back. And so it sounds like that's what is that complete, or is that still a work in progress?
Yeah, so where I'm at, it's fairly complete. Just if anyone else would have feedback, then I can update. But as far as I go, I feel it's well complete. Yeah, it's near fully baked. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about to come out of the oven.
Yeah.
Okay. It could be gooey inside. You're not sure. Somebody needs to poke it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll taste test. I'm happy to.
Yeah. I appreciate
Bad
it.
analogy. Parthib, you're up.
Okay, so I was working on this mesh map icon not hovering on, like not moving on hovering. So the change I made is like,
Can you all see the full screen if I go full screen? Oh, okay, good. He's sure. Okay.
yeah, so the change I made is I added a style in this image component. I tried to use the hover ID, but the mesh map icon was coming from the web, I think, and it is pure SVG format. That's why I think it's not working properly. So I added like a mouse on hover and mouse out effect, now CSS event in this image icon, and currently it's working like this.
Righty. Pranav or who's got feedback? Abid?
Yeah, like my feedback was just that if we can use any theme so that we have standardization. Otherwise, in future, like when we would have more components, then we make a change somewhere, then we have to come back and forth and make changes in other places. So if we have theme, then it's better.
Like the other icons were natively coming, but this icon mesh map was coming from the web and it is in pure SVG format, while the other icons are JS SVG format. So I think this is the problem here. That's why the mesh map is not working properly.
Ritik, do you have any other suggestion? Like I'm not sure about the icon.
The icon is being supplied via extension point. So it's special in terms of how it's being presented, how it's being loaded. I don't know that. What was that? That was the concern, right? The concern isn't over the style of the icon. The concern is like over whether or not it elevates on hover, right? And
yeah.
Good. And so, yeah, it would be good for Antoinette to review this to help ensure that what Pranav had said is upheld, which is just consistency of use of themes. But I mean, the behavior that you're displaying looks spot on. It's just whether or not your code smells, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool, very good. All right, well, anything else on this?
Sir, will my PR would be merged or it will be on review, sir, for post-grid icon, sir?
Yeah, Ayush will want to, let's get your topic put into the agenda. But,
Okay, okay.
alrighty.
Sir,
But
we will discuss in Slack channel because I am out of station.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. We will discuss in Slack channel.
All right, sounds good. Partha, thanks a bunch. Yeah, that looks great.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Who we have next? We've got Akshay, Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma, the 84th. Are you with us? Do you want to share? Uh-oh. He's MIA. Antoinette, we are up to you with Systent.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, I think. So today I want to review again about the design system. System design system. Ooh, where my remote? Anyway. Just a reminder of the open issue that we have. We recently changed over to use the Yarn workspace coupled with Learner. And so we also have commit lint to try to help the just trying to make meaningful commits so that we're not trying to backtrack and try to see where everything went wrong. And also let me see. So as I mentioned last time that we did move the design system to app. So right now it's private, but if we were to deploy it, we would deploy it to wherever we want to deploy it for hosting. It can be virtual, it can be all of the other self-hosting platforms. But at this time, it's not. So if you were to make any changes to your components, like if you want to test a new component, you can do it within the design system, or you can create a new component from the packages and then just try to call it from the design system at that point. It's a little wonky on how you can build because of how Yarn does its portion, but once you get to the groove of it, it should be fine at that moment. Right, Lee, so there's a question in the chat about what is the system patterns. You did submit a PR and I have added in, but I already added in, so it should be in your in the system patterns directory.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's right there, system.
Yeah, there's I was trying to so this is my fault, or this is I tossed in, I'm trying to get kickstarted, like get us beyond research and like into getting some things moving. And so I tossed up for review a week and a half, couple of weeks ago, this, and then I messaged it in Slack a couple of times for folks to come and comment on this, on a design pattern. So there's part of, and others, Rhoda or Rex or Abed or Antoinette or anyone else can speak to what I'm about to say or clarify what I'm about to say, which is that, you know, of this particular initiative, this design system is to be inclusive of some code, some components, which Antoinette was just referring to, maybe the way that those get packaged up and released, some code around color themes and some like, and things around a design guide. It's hard to use some of these terms because they mean different things to different folks, But part of what's included in the design system is written word on the guiding principles by which things are laid out on the screen, or the color scheme that's used, or the typography that's there. There's lots of visual design. There's lots of theory and guidance offered about margins and padding and this and that.
You mean documentation?
Yeah, so lots of so documentation of what the design system is. And so to like kickstart that, I was tossing up one. I tossed out one on empty states. Empty state is something of a pattern that you'd find in most apps. Sometimes you go look at like a graph, like we were just looking at, and if it so happened, like, you know, if it so happened that right here, there's been no messages back and forth between this system, well, what does the empty state look like? Oh, well, it looks like a prompt in this case. Or if you go to a metric and there's no metric, like what does the empty state look like? Anyway, it's a pattern that you would find everywhere. And so that's, so Abid, were you asking, does that help explain?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Nice. That was probably way over at, you probably needed like 2 seconds of explanation. And then, but yeah, one of the things that we also need for this site is Rex wrote what that would be like a website. And so the, these words, whether it's these same words or if someone changes them, either way, would get published in that website. And if there's if there's storybook to go with this, and the icons and the SVGs and just the, yeah. All right, back to you, Antoinette. Anything else that we want to talk about on Systed?
No, well, yes and no. Just a reminder that we have open issues. I encourage trying to use the package and see how it worked for you, because I mean, I can try to figure out any blockers, but I don't know unless you brought up the issue to me and open up the issue in the design system, and then we can go forward and try to get kind of moving along a little bit. Abid, I updated the RTK query code gen just to kind of clean it up a little bit. But all you have to do is just finish the rest of what you were trying to do. I have the build script where with the TypeScript is building, and I also have the RTK generating the API. But anything else you were trying to do, you can just finish the rest and then update the README, and then you should be okay on that part. But other than that, like I said, I really encourage everybody to try to use it. But like I said, I won't really know, unless I won't really know if anything's wrong unless you tell me. And then I can go ahead and start fixing it. But anybody have any questions or like to try to provide a feedback?
Well, if I may, I was going to add that, like Lee said, of course, there's a website in the works, of course, but I was pointing out that primarily there's the two phases of it where there has to be the Figma or the components itself that we're using for both the websites and the products, and then the website on its own. Those are two different things. And so going forward, maybe from Monday, we'll start getting more consistent updates on those components that will be used first, primarily, before anything gets probably published and documented on the website. And to that end, we'll be needing some help. I've maybe called for help a couple of times, and I think it's appropriate now to an extent, primarily from people who have a lot of time here and a lot of experience with what it is we're working with, so that we can get more scope and more context, so that we don't use the wrong words for things that can eventually confuse people who get to use design systems, which is, of course, the devs primarily. So if it's possible, yeah, a brief, it has to happen. It just might take a little bit of time, but if we can just make our file a little bit of time, get conversant to what it is both parties are doing, because if it's systems you're working on, then it's systems another group is working on. We have to consolidate efforts so that at least there's some kind of unison at the end of the day, both on the code end and on the design end of things, so that eventually if a random contributor comes in and decides to design something, eventually when it's being replicated in code, the code base has all the components readily available, because yes, of course, the design has all those components as well, but if all the code components are available and there's no matching equivalent on the design end of things, you find that the Figma ideations will just be things that maybe will have to be described verbally, because the only way it can be represented is in code. So yeah, and I think I might also want to ask for assistance from, I think, Pranav. I'll probably reach out on Slack as well. So, but Antoinette, Pranav, if it's possible, just maybe be expecting a DM. I think I've sent one earlier, and I tried to send in again, and hopefully we can get something like that. Thanks.
Good. Hey, Rex, with heads being down on research, where can we review the research?
Sorry, still news. Okay, yes. I pointed out that because of how you pointed out, you said something about us trying to have something that we can currently use for now. So we figured, okay, we'd put a little bit of the brakes on the research, especially the audit part of things. So we decided, you know what, since you said most of the things might need to be updated, fine, then let's go ahead and just begin to create both the foundational elements, the components, and all of that. And that's what we're currently trying to push for. That's why I said from Monday, there will be updates based on the colors that have been concluded on the typography and all the other foundational elements, spacers, grids, and all of that. And then get reviews on that going forward. So the audit comes in when hopefully most of those things that are going to be foundational elements have been implemented on the code end of things and are currently being used. Then we find out, okay, how is it working out? What are the blockers? What are the hardships that people might face trying to utilize those already implemented stuff? So yeah, for the research end of things, we have something to work by for now. So we're going with that, and we're starting some part of the course.
Good. Yeah, breaks on research, gas on website, and implementation. Good. Ms. Gosh, would you like to go?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
So my task was converting the class-based component to functional component, and wait a sec. So I had to convert the Meshery adapter config component and Meshery progress bar from class-based to functional. I did actually most of the task. Yash Sharma told me to revert the package lock JSON. I did that today, and I made the final push. So here, I did the task. Now they will approve it, and it will be done. And yes, in the Meshery adapter config component, I've changed from higher order function to normal function. I've converted it. That is one thing I did. And for that, here actually it was not needed in the handle delete, and another function was handle click. And so that's why I removed that from higher order function to a normal function. And for that reason, I also had to convert the handle error function, as it was also in a higher order function. So I convert it into a normal function. So yeah, this was my task.
Abid, feedback.
Yeah, actually, I will check the PR and I will just approve it then. The changes are looking good, and I think this is a small component, so I don't think there should be much coming from it. Just to mention for whoever is managing this challenge of migrating and who is keeping track of them, let's only assign small components where the components not a soft limit of 200 lines of code or 300. Beyond that, it's hard to migrate at the moment because it's hard to review the change, and the contributor cannot also test every case the component handles. So I think this is a small component, so it's good. And for the rest of components, let's only stick to small components at the moment. because otherwise there's like problem is reviewing and knowing if the conversion has been properly done.
Nice. Yeah. In part, I think what Abid, or I know part of where Abid's message is coming from. In the last 2 weeks, we have had some hair on fire moments. We've had some late nights trying to fix a number of bugs that were just accidentally caused by moving from class-based to functional, and just natural accidents, natural oversights by both maintainers and contributors. But the pain involved was acute, more than a few times, and so I think what Abid is trying to do is like, is trying to help is to not disappoint contributors that do some great work and then wonder why the PRs are stacking up, and I guess nobody cares about my work, and like that's not it at all. As a matter of fact, as soon as Ms. Gosh can become a maintainer, that would be wonderful. We just need more of those for sure.
Yes, sure, of course. If there is any chance, of course, I would love to do that.
Yeah. There's how do I phrase this concisely? The opportunity is here. Yep, just come get it. It very much so is. Everybody that you see as a maintainer here, they were, well, not all of them actually said it directly like you did. Some of them just sort of fell into it because they nerded out and kept contributing, and then, but yeah, come get it for sure. All right, well, we're good.
Yeah, thank you.
That was great. That's good.
Yeah.
We got a couple more that we can squeeze in. Zubi, I wonder if you want to cover this item. Is this, yeah, this is in Meshery, right? Meshery Docs.
Yeah, it's about Meshery Doc FAQs. So somebody posted an issue that there's like not much FAQs. So I added a few, but I'm still working on it to find relevant questions from the forums. And I found most of them are in documentation. So I need to like find relevant questions from the documentation, not from the FAQs, because there's not much of information there. So yeah, my main idea was to find questions and technical solutions from the documentation and post it on FAQ.
Yep, nice. Yeah, so Ashu might have been, I think the context in which he mentioned this, because he originally just mentioned it in Slack, and then someone had suggested that like, hey, let's open up an issue and do that. That was a good suggestion. I think it was in context of troubleshooting, whether that was just initial building of the project and sort of getting your development environment set up, because there's a fairly common thread of discussion around development environment setup. A few common solutions that we can extract, and then post or people who are just deploying Meshery as well. There's a common thread of folks that like they'll deploy Minikube, for example, and then bump into an unexpected networking issue. Anyway, there's that was the context in which he would. So there's a there's something of a troubleshooting guide in Meshery Docs, and it certainly would benefit from extracting some of those signals, some of those common questions.
Yeah, I was telling you about this. So my idea was to bring, collect troubleshooting issues from here and then add it to FAQs.
Okay, nice, good. It looks like we have two of them. The exact two that I just described, well, or not exactly, I guess that the one that I had described was like, anyway, yeah, good. Building these out would be great. And I think that these are somewhat of a mishmash of random things. And this one's not very long. Yeah, there's definitely more questions that have been answered than have been curated and posted here. So that's great. It sounds like, yeah, this is a good thing for others to do as well, especially if any one of you have asked the question, gotten an answer. It might be a good candidate to put into update the docs with. So all right, Abid, we got a little bit of time left.
Actually, I just finished the work on the bulk operations in notification center. We're previously not doing like allowing users to do bulk operations like selecting a couple of notifications and just deleting them or changing the status. So I just finished that PR and it's up for review and feedback. So we can now do like change their status and also delete them. So it will go away. The thing is like only we can select do a single bulk operation at a time. Otherwise, like there will be various conditions across the server and we don't know like which operations will apply. So we can only do one bulk operation at a time. And whenever we are doing a bulk operation, that the others will then get disabled, and the one that's in progress, that one will show the loading icon. And after that, we'll just reconcile the state on like the notification center. And if it's a delete, it will go away. And it depends on like which view we are on. If we are in an unread view, then if we change the status, then those ones will get removed. And also like, I think there was an issue that Akshay mentioned like with the info and like this notification. And I think it's like, because we are saying like this is unread information and like these are all to the pointing to unread, but we're previously not like filtering on unread, we're just filtering on the severity of the issue, like the notification, but not on the status. So I just added that. It was a bug actually. So I quickly fixed that one. And I think also the other thing is like that I'm actually currently working on is adding the metadata formatter, actually a dynamic one, which will catch any metadata. Currently, we are only like formatting the metadata that's coming for an error, and it's like neatly presented with those links and stuff. So I will try to make a generic one for dynamic, and if in case in future we want some specific, then we can always add a new one, like a specific one.
Yeah, that would have been easier to understand if you had an example, I think, but for other folks.
Yeah, actually, that one's like on a different branch I just joined.
Oh, yeah, very good. Yeah, there's so Rex was doing some great brainstorming about if you open up one of those notifications. He was doing some brainstorming about the avatars that get shown and where they might get placed.
Yeah.
So,
this one.
Yeah, I think Rex, it sounded like one of yours to finish off that thought maybe, and we'll probably conclude for the day. It sounded like if one of those were, or both of them potentially were to slide to the lower right-hand corner, that they would be presented more as contextual labels, like, hey, this event is coming. And by the way, just the backstory here is that this event was the actors that were involved in this event, or the systems or the people that were implicated in this event are these two here. And that's the information that we're trying to convey to the user, to the extent that that helps.
So that's the person that carried out the event and the system that the event was carried out in specifically.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I have a few ideas. I'm piecing something together on Figma, maybe before the end of the year. I'll try to.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, good. Yeah, because right now it's most of the time it's like you as it's you, the user, and Meshery. But any number of times it will be, oh no, Rex was signed in, he did this, and so there was just a broadcast notification that went out, and so yeah, to separate out different user activities, and then Rex wasn't doing it on, or Daniel was signed in and he did something on MeshSync, and so it would show the MeshSync logo instead. Yeah, cool. Abid, good. You said you do have an icon or a button for the dismiss all or the mark all read.
Yeah.
Oh, Oh, I see. All right.
To check all and unselect all.
When
There's
does
not
this-
an API for like delete all at the moment, so that's why I didn't implement it. But these APIs were merged yesterday.
Okay. Is this the final design?
Yeah, I think like this is the final design from Prem.
Okay. 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 Yeah. When does the select all show?
When I would like for like the moment there is no bulk selectors like visible, when we check one, it gets visible and we can also like then do this.
All right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not obvious what's going on. And it doesn't follow the suit with the other bulk actions that people do in the tables. So it just,
Yeah, like for the tables, it's already present. So we might make it also like always present in here. And only
but
show these ones on selection of some.
yeah, potentially, but not show them there because it's not obvious what's going on. It doesn't. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else for the day before we conclude? And Trevor, just in case you haven't tried this yet, if you do a password reset or like I forgot my password, that might be the trick. So unless Trevor, we should talk about it real fast, you are able to sign into the cloud and see your account in there. But when you try to visit playground.meshery.io, is that where things fall down? So yeah, if you can't sign in at all, then I would do the password reset route, even though you probably didn't forget your password. It's just the system needs to get it reset. Nice. Okay. All right. Well, good. Well, hey, it's DockerCon today, first day, in case anybody's, we usually do a lot with Docker. I've been overwhelmed myself. So we announced a partnership with them last year. The Meshery extension is still out there. There's a little bit of work to do on that extension, actually. So those of you that are into React, somebody might inquire about that if you're interested. So, well, we're going to sign off. And so those of you with active chat, take your copy of it now as we go to close it down. 3, 2. All right. Well, anyway, happy Oktoberfest, everybody. Let's go get a t-shirt or something, a digital t-shirt, I guess. Okay. See you all. Thanks for coming. See you in the next one.